Classic excuse, huh? Classic.
Yeah, or like make them stay out of the class or something like that. What do you do when they don't turn up for these webinar sessions?
We keep on
Don't do
reminding.
anything. We just remind, and now it's the sweet, harsh truth and reality that they're actually wasting their own money. So
And
it's
an
no more.
opportunity.
Yeah, it's an opportunity. They're missing an opportunity to interact with the industry experts.
Yeah.
Good evening, ma'am. I think you can see Dr. Janardhan also here. Dr. Janardhan also
Hello,
teaches in the Department of Digital Filmmaking.
Janardhan, the light is behind you.
Yes, ma'am. There is a window.
Okay.
I am sitting in the classroom in the main campus.
Aha, okay. In Pune?
No, in Bangalore.
In Bangalore, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Which is your main campus?
Bangalore only, ma'am.
No, where in Bangalore? I live in Bangalore, so I would know.
Jayanagar 9th block, Jain University main
Aha,
campus.
oh, I'm so close to you.
Oh,
Okay.
I live in BTM layout.
okay.
Nice.
But I'm new to this city.
Oh,
1 month back only I shifted from Hyderabad to here.
aha, okay.
I heard all these places, but I haven't visited.
Okay, yeah, it will take a while.
Yes, ma'am.
Bangalore is 100 kilometers.
No, that's what she
Radius.
was.
No, diameter.
Mm.
Okay.
Sir, this is good number, sir. They will join with us.
Let us go ahead, sir.
Because
Ma'am, you
just
can go ahead.
No,
Students will
you
join
have to
us.
ask me question. I cannot just go ahead. You
Okay.
remember?
Yeah. So let us first start off with the theme itself. The theme is about the roles, key responsibilities, functional areas of film director. Okay, so before asking to speak about that, I would like to briefly introduce our director, the speaker for today, Rupa Rao, who is a filmmaker, and majorly you will get to see her work from The Other Love Story or her debut feature film, Kantumute. I am not a Kannadiga to say or to comment on the film, but I really liked it. So you focus on the human themes, and it's so easy for anyone with human behavior to get into, get deeply involved at your story level. So I think irrespective of student coming from which part of the India, you will have questions to ask for. And we have a pretty diverse student. Some people understand Kannada, some people are very far away from Kannada. Some people are from remote places like Assam, Nagaland, and who are South Indians who don't watch South Indian films, and North Indians who watch South Indian films. So it's all the kind of a mixed crowd you will find here. The kind of festival crowd which you see in the festivals.
Nice.
So hopefully, I'm expecting that this interaction will be a fruitful one, both for the students and us. Okay, so now I'll leave it to you, ma'am.
Okay.
So let us start with the whole theme of it. The webinar was actually organized so that we can get to know more about the roles, the key responsibilities, and the functional area of a film director from someone who has already directed films or someone who is been from the industry. Because academically speaking, we can say a lot, we can talk a lot, we can uh, discuss a lot, but someone who has worked in an industry can only say what is right or wrong, or maybe what is the scenario there. So maybe you can start off with throwing some light on that aspect, and then slowly the students will catch up asking some questions to you.
How about any of the students who are here can answer that? What do they think is the role of a film director?
Right.
Anyone can just. I'm not going to give you
Captain of the
marks or anything. So just please, let's just talk about it. We'll see what happens.
A director is basically a captain of the ship.
That's a very vague statement. Can I see you? Switch on the video.
Guys, switch on your video. Until and unless you have terrible network issues, make sure you show your face.
Or you're sitting in bathroom. Okay. Yeah, Gautam. Were you the one who's talking?
Yeah, ma'am.
Yes, please.
Ma'am, basically, director is a person where he will know to handle all the team, and the way he like he's the person who is responsible to take the work in a good way. He's the captain of the ship.
Okay. Okay. Anybody else want to say anything? Add to that. Have you guys already done any short films or any projects you guys have done? Like even like a 1 minute video, 1 minute film, fiction or docu?
Yes, ma'am.
You've done it. Okay. So you kind of have an idea of what director does. Okay. Nobody else wants to say anything.
Okay, guys, this is not the time to keep quiet. I mean, this is the time you can interact.
I was telling Dhananjay, already I don't get to see you, so I don't even know if you're listening to me. And if you guys don't talk, I think maybe you're not even listening to me. So if you don't interact, so I always tell in my sessions, wherever I go, happen to meet students, that I am at my best only when I am asked questions and when you're talking to me. If you're not talking to me, I'm a very conversational person, basically. So if you don't talk to me, it can't be one-sided and I'll forget a lot of points. So you got to talk to me. Anything, like it's just when I was sitting in my film school, I wouldn't just stop asking questions, and my professor would say, can you please just talk to me later and meet me in staff room because you are disturbing others, so let's disturb others. No?
I think the biggest responsibility of a filmmaker is to make a film with sheer conviction without underestimating the audience.
Okay. Without underestimating the audience, you said.
Yeah.
So how is it done? It's what you're saying is very subjective, right? Objectively, how is it done? I think that is what we will also talk about. Of course, it's a subjective, and how do you imply that? How do you adapt it? How do we make sure that it is there in our everyday thing? So okay, you have the script ready. If you are a writer director, then you are also writing. You have the script ready. Once your script is ready is when the director's job begins. Correct? Correct?
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay. So there is a vision when you read a script, or when you're reading a book or a storybook or a novel, anything, a story is running in your own head, right? You are seeing the film in your head when you're reading it. Do we do that? Are we all visual memory people, or we all do that, right? Even if you're reading Tinkle or Hardy Boys, I don't know what you guys are reading these days. There is a story running. There is face for every character, right? Maybe those faces, like even when I was a child, when I would read a book that, like let's say for example, Sidney Sheldon. I'm reading a book that is set in America or elsewhere in the world, but all the characters have Indian faces because that's all I knew, right? So I have my own characters, and then I'm seeing my own film. And then now the script is ready, and what you are seeing is what you have to bring on screen. The translate, like the what is the word for it? Like bringing, you transition from script to the screen. So the one who brings it all on screen is the director. How does he or she do it? It's a very human interaction role, people management, project management, all kind of management kind of role. Doing all of this, you cannot lose sight of what you want to create. Like just yesterday, I was talking to my friend. We are going to start our next film, and my friend will be directing, and I'll be producing it. So we were talking about his script is almost ready, and we were talking about. See, for me, every story I want to tell, I want to know. I'm a writer director because I love writing as much as I love creating the film on screen. I have tried directing other stories. Somehow I don't enter the skin of the story. Somehow I cannot just get myself in it, because for me I need to know the emotions of every character in every scene. What are they doing, and why are they doing it, and where are they coming from? So all of this is very essential for me in that world that we want to create, right? It's a make believe process, and if you are not convinced what, how, why, when, you cannot make it reach the audience. So it's very, very essential for me that when I get a script, or rather when I start thinking of a story, I need to know what in that, which emotion in that story is reaching out to me, because that will be my key, and that will be my underlined emotion for that particular story. And through the narration, through the treatment, I will try to see how am I only going towards that emotion. So director is doing very subjective role constantly while objectively dealing with people. You cannot control everything on the set, right? So there are many elements that happen on in that moment. So it is so essential for a director to be super present. You know what it means to be present? Do we know what it means to be present? Yeah.
Yes, guys.
Aman smiled, so he is present. Who else is present? Present, ma'am. It's not just about, you need to be present in your mind, in your emotions, in that moment, because that is where the magic happens. Like so you would have script is ready, and then you start casting, you start thinking about who will fit into this role and how well. And I have my process. I don't audition people, I meet them and talk to them, because I don't think I can work with someone I cannot talk to, because I need to communicate, right? And I need to know if they're understanding what I'm saying, not just in language, but we should be able to just sit over a coffee or a, you know, are they all 21 year plus? Can I say drink in this session? So I should be able to just sit and talk, and we should be able to talk to each other, and should be able to share and reach out to each other. We should be able to know that we are in sync. For me, how good an actor he or she is in front of camera, it's a very last thing. Once I know the person, once we think we can bear each other for the next 3-4 months, then I think that's where our journey begins. And then placing camera, and because it's a constant talking role, right? Director, you got to keep talking. How well can you explain and express and bring the context that so well actors can connect. It's a hyperlinked, right? They will all have these emotions, and you need to hyperlink it to something that must have happened in their life and try to ignite it, evoke it. So yeah, so communication is very essential. That happens during pre-production. So I'm casting, and then I start looking for my locations, and locations need to be believable. If you're doing an indie film shooting, then you got to go to locations which you got to understand, locations that will come free because you are doing indie, and also should be cinematically conducive. In with that, what I mean is you need to look at the audio levels, you need to look at the uh, people movement, because if it is too crowded, then how are you going to handle your shoot day? All of that you have to understand. So location, and then I start scheduling in a way that which scene am I doing when, and who are the actors, and are there too many intense scenes in a single day? If there are, then spread it out. because we all know we shoot according to location, isn't it? Do we all know that? Yeah. So once you have a location, you finish all the scenes that happen there and then move on to next location. So in that, how you have a story trajectory and you have character trajectory that's happening parallelly, right? When you're making a film. So you got to keep the story trajectory intact, communicate that to the character actors who are playing those characters so that they can align their character trajectory in their head so that that story doesn't lose its momentum, right? Because for example, let's say we are doing scene number 1 and scene number 42 in a single day. What is happening between scene number 1 and 42 is so much, right? As a director, you should know your story in and out. You should not be referring to script for story details. It should be internalized to the extent that even if you close your eyes, you should know where the character is going and what's happening. If you're still referring to script while you're talking about the story, if you're still referring to your book, the written material, then you're still not ready. You got to have it all internalized. You are only referring to the script while shooting only for the notes you would have had for yourself. That's what I do when I'm in pre-production, when I'm rehearsing with the actors, which is super important, because you will know how they are reacting to whatever situation and you will know how to talk to them on the shooting day, because shooting day is a war zone, isn't it? So the more you're prepared, the better it is. So pre-production, rehearsals, in rehearsals I would have made notes for each scene. This detail I don't want to miss. I wanted, because while rehearsing I must have noticed this actor is giving such a beautiful reaction for something, and then I'll make a mental note, I want to take close up of that reaction because I know it's going to add something to the final film narrative. So yeah, your casting, your location scouting, you're talking to your technical team. You need to have a DOP who is seeing what you're seeing. You should not be talking two different languages. You know, if you're talking in, let's say, French, he should not be seeing German. He should also be seeing French. So it's very essential to have a DP who is seeing what you're saying. So that is why I think over the years many directors work with same DOP or same technical team, because it's easier. They develop a certain bond with each other, that they start understanding each other. So the working style and everything. So I have done that. I have repeated my music director for both of my projects, and I think I'm going to work with him because there is something that you start seeing in each other, that you, even if you don't say it, he's getting it, and also you kind of understand the work pattern, everything. So technical team talking to each of them, kind of taking their, like when you're conversing, when you're having in the pre-production, when you're talking to your editor, you will have a pace to the story because you have seen it, right? There is a certain pace for every story, and you discuss that pace with him and see if he's what he thinks of it. So it's important to bring all of your technical team to the same page to what you're seeing, and there could be moments where whatever the inputs they give, it will enhance to your own vision, and then you are, of course, if the money is ready, then you go for shoot. And on a shooting day, I have a rule that nobody talks to actors but me. And actors don't talk to anybody but me. So that is I'm very, very possessive of my actors. And I think they are also kind of get into that zone, the way, because film, what it becomes from what is written is only through the actors. Your music, your dialogues, everything else is just an enabler. It's just a masala that you add to the main dish. Actors are your main dish, and I feel anything for them. I love working with actors. Anything for them. I treat them like kids. I treat them like queens and kings. I treat them with all my love. And of course, other members also, but actors they are going to be my priority during shooting. I just have to ensure that they're eating fine, they're sleeping fine, they're feeling fine, because by then you would have developed a bond which is beyond film also. So you got to make sure that they are not just, having some issues with their life, because everything seeps into what you're doing. Eyes never lie, right? And camera sees something that you are not seeing most of the times, right, in naked eyes. So yeah, actors, talking to them constantly and being with them, being attentive to them while you're talking to your other team members, your technical team. And yeah, and I am also a producer on the set, so for me, I have an added responsibility of making sure production aspect is also taken care. So yeah, and then shooting, you finish, and then you be ready for things that just come up, sudden rains. What do I do? How do I make the shoot happen? Am I going to cancel the shoot? No, I never want to cancel the shoot. And see, is there any other scene that you can shoot in any other way? So, or like suddenly, it happened with me that we were shooting in a location which didn't have permission, so our camera got confiscated. So, and we are there, and we are in a different outdoor location. So much that the money meter is going up. We have already traveled and everything, and yeah, camera got confiscated. But I was kind of prepared for it. So yeah, we 2 hours of shoot. You halt the shoot and see, and I usually have one person already kind of. I've prepared him for such situations, so he runs to take care of the situation, and you sit and chill with others, so nobody gets panicked, because you still have to continue shooting. Yeah, so once the shooting is over, then you start bringing it all together on the edit table, and that's where the movie happens. And that's where you will know, oh, I missed that shot, oh, this one, oh, that one, all of that, and see how you fix it. If you want to go for a reshoot or things like that, you please talk to your actors and tell them not to change their look until you have first cut ready. I usually request for it, and first cut I try to have it ready as and when we are finishing the shoot. As the days go by, within every week I go and team members will go dump the footage, and editor will start lining things up according to his knowledge. And then I will already know if we have missed any shots. So request your actors not to change any look until you finish your at least first cut. And then yeah, and then things start falling in place. Edit is ready, music will happen, sound designing will happen. So if you're also shooting, am I just realized I'm just talking alone.
I don't know, it's fine. I mean,
No, man.
yeah.
Okay. Any moment you want to just ask me question, just ask. Okay. This is very weird to just talk to my own face.
I'm very sure they're listening to you, ma'am. A lot of things to take.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, ma'am.
Yeah, I'm just randomly going through my own shooting.
Yes, you are touching all the three levels of production, filmmaking process, and then mentioning the every important stage filmmaking process.
Yeah, so there's pre-production, production, post-production.
Yes, ma'am.
When we say it, it sounds so easy, no? Oh, casting done. Oh, location will gaya. Let's just now, let's start shooting. No, it's not that as easy as it is sounding. At least for me, I take about a year to finish a film. From the moment I start not thinking about it. Once the story is locked, script is locked, from that moment I take about 8 to 9 months to arrive at a first cut or a rough cut. It takes because you have to make sure, like, we are all indie filmmakers, right? We have to make sure everything is done in very low budget. So how do you make it happen? So how do you make it happen? By preparing really well. How do you prepare really well? Because in film world, there is something that I understood very, very, very early. What you save is your profit. That is it. Because there are movies like I was part of a film where I was associate directing, and on paper when they started the film, their budget was 5 crores, and they were expecting on table profit because there was a star. So on table profit, even before the shoot began, it was 7 crore. So they were already at a 2 crore profit. But what happened as the shoot started happening, because of the leakages in the finances, they finished the film with 7 crore. So, and now they had to, so they had already made there was no table profit. So the sale is done. Now they have to rely on theatrical release for their profits. So imagine if we could have finished the film in 4 crores, so they could have increased their profit by 3 crores. So, but I'm talking like a producer here. But there is a lot of it. What a director does has a direct implication on that budget. So how do you prepare really well? If you're sitting with your cinematographer and you have decided on a day one you're shooting 2 scenes in this particular location, right? And there are 2-3 shots which you want it to be in a certain lens because you're paying for lens, right? Let's say you need zoom lens on a particular for 2-3 scenes, but only 4 shots. So what you do, you plan all those 4 shots from different scenes for a particular day, so that you can hire zoom lens which costs about 17,000, no, about 8-10, depending on which lens you're bringing. So you hire the lens, you finish those 4 shots, but then you make sure you have file structure when you're copying your files. That's the biggest thing, where day one you say, right, day one you're copying all your footage, you also say zoom shots and separately, so that when you sit for edit you don't. And clapping is so important, right? Because you miss the scene number, you forget. Of course, as a director you should know which day you shot which scene, but then it is always important to kind of record it really well and save it with the file names, which is understandable for everyone in the team, not just production team, later post production team. So you discuss that with your editor, ask him what is his comfortable file structure, what is that does he have a format with which he saves his file name so that it's easy for him later to look for files. So all these little things matter so much while making films. This is, I'm saying, at a very, very detailed level. In all of this, you have to keep remembering every scene that I am shooting today. Am I adding to that subjective essence that you have thought in your head? Is it going towards it? So yeah. And any questions so far?
Ma'am, as a director on sets, what are the challenges you faced?
Every damn day is a challenge. Like, our actor is not in proper mood today. That's your biggest challenge. Yeah. Like it happened in my set. 2 of the actors in my set, they were all kids. Like Gantu Mute, I don't know if you've seen it. It's a high school love story. Not love story, high school story. So high school kids, I mean, all of them are 19-20-year-olds. But they were acting the age group of 15-16, and a couple of them started having feelings for each other. They developed crushes.
Ma'am, as a professional, he must be that professional ethics. He must be prepared for what he has to do it now on the side.
No, but it happens, right? Like it's very human to have emotions and fall in love. All that happens. That's okay. They cannot tell, oh, I'm professional, I can't. They fell in love. My point is that should not affect my shooting. That's all. Whatever you want to do, you do.
Yes.
What happened is 2 days they were having those attraction, and 4th day they fell apart. They had a fight, and that started showing off in their face. They are supposed to be in a scene together, and they cannot hold that emotion. They're angry, but they're supposed to tease each other happily and they're kids, and for all of these are first time actors, so they have that rawness which I loved. Now it's my challenge to how do I direct those emotions towards what I need for the film. So as a director, I feel your biggest challenge is to handle actors and their mood swings. But apart from that, being, there is a term, like I was saying, being present. Why am I saying it? Because it's not a program coding that you decide everything in pre-production, how you are going to shoot this. Like, you cannot say, I'm going to have 2 master shots, 2 close-ups, 3 over the shoulder shots, like this. I'm going to have my visual structure. What is storyboarding? You can have all of that prepared. The better you're prepared, it's good, because you don't want to miss any shot. But once you are there on the set, there could be things, that magical things are happening, and you need to be very open to capture that. So it's a very, like, for example, I don't know if you've seen The Other Love Story. In that, there is an episode where we play with shadows when these two girls are kissing. What happened is, we shot that series with a very, very less budget, so I only had one light that day, and it was very harsh light. And uh, the 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 um, uh, s- the camera department, they were trying to fix the light, and I was just rehearsing to see how I can um, capture in a limited space. And then I saw, every time I went towards my my AD was next to me, because I was rehearsing with her, and I went closer, and I kept noticing my shadow is so beautifully, just it is creating its own kind of shapes. And then I changed the angle, and I told the cameraman, my cinematographer, that I think we are going to capture it from this angle. Because what happens when you're storyboarding, you don't uh, bring in these elements. You don't know what's going to happen that day, right? How it's all going to play out. So, and then we changed the angle, and see, you're storyboarding only when you know the location. Your storyboard can happen, right? The short division can happen only when you know the location. But you don't know, you won't sit through the day in that location to see how the light is moving. That you will do only unless you are shooting in your own house, where you have seen how the light moves and shadow moves, right? So these elements, I think it's so important that you're open for it, and be ready for many, many more challenges. Yeah.
I wanted to ask you about the rain sequence in the film. I mean, there are a couple of scenes where there's rain in the background. So, like recently when I was shooting something, I didn't want rain, but suddenly it started raining. I don't know what to do. Then we shot something else immediately. But when you just mentioned that previously, I could completely relate to that. So I would like to know what you did with such cases.
In my films, I want rains, and it doesn't rain, so we have to create rain. And with indie budget, creating rain is super fun. Um, but when it rained, when we didn't want it to rain, uh, we just, because I'm also shooting sync sound, it's the audio is a big problem, right? It starts. Um, you see, if you how like how you wait for cloud to pass when you're shooting outdoors. Likewise, you just see what is the cloud outside. You just have a gauge and see how long you think it's going to last. If you think it's going to last for longer, let's say an hour or two, see if you can finish the whole scene in that. Because problem is, if there is rain in this angle and no rain in this angle, right? But what if the whole scene has rain? It will add, if the mood of the scene uh, will get elevated with rain. Think about it. If it does, then use that. But only thing is, you have to gauge. How do you gauge? These days apps are there which tells you how long the rain is going to stand. If you cannot finish the whole scene, don't shoot. Wait. Like, it is very, very, it has happened with me that I'm shooting, and that is the reason people, even in big budget films, when it rains, when you don't want, they stop the shooting. Even I'm like, they know that money, like, it's so expensive to have the unit and everything, but there is no other way but to stop it. But sometimes if it is indoors, they do go ahead and shoot, because they are not sync sound. They're not doing sync sound. Most of these big budget films, they are doing dubbing later. So they're like, yeah, yeah, let's just shoot it. Because anyway, visually it is not, in your frame, it is not seen that it is raining. So we'll just go ahead and shoot and dub it later. But people like us, we wait for the alignment with the nature. Great. Any other question? Have you guys seen any of my work, or you just like?
I forgot to mention that I watched Gantamurti and I really liked the film. I should have mentioned that at the beginning. And I also watched the very recent film that you did, The Silent Passage, during the pandemic.
Yeah.
I watched that too because I follow you on Facebook. So
Thank you.
yeah, so those are the two films I watched of yours.
Okay. Hope you see my web series as well. It's India's
Yeah,
first
yeah,
ever same-sex love story.
yeah. I've watched it. I watched it.
Ma'am, me also, ma'am. I watched the movie called Gantumutta in theater, and I also watched your web series, The Other Love Story, recently. So it was too good, ma'am. Ma'am, and I just have a question. You told that you use the sync sound. So what are the complications while using this technique?
Oh my God, it's so be prepared. The shooting will be if you're not doing a sing sound, if you can finish, let's say, a particular short film or anything, let's say 40 days of shoot, be prepared for a 2-3 days extra because of the sound. What happened with the other love story, when we were shooting in the night, dogs start barking and they don't stop. How do you make dogs stop barking, right? And we are shooting in the street. So we feed them biscuits, and as long as they're eating, we finish one take. So we are cutting and waiting for sound also, as well as visuals, like how sometimes camera will have issues, or something did, like the movement didn't go right, or the focus didn't happen properly, or there are these could be some issues that you would go for another take. And when you're doing sync, you will also be going for other takes because of sound. I did both of my projects the stories in the 90s. So my biggest challenge was cell phone ringing sounds in the soundscape, because we are using highly intense amplifiers, like the microphones. It is capturing a lot of, like in the boom, not in the lapel mic, in the boom, and it's capturing like the whole ambient, right? And my story is in the 90s, and I hear somebody's Nokia ringtone or something in the soundscape, so we would go for another take. So when I'm shooting, I'm not only looking at my monitor, I'm also listening, because my sound recordist gives me a feed, so I'm also listening. So I have to gauge both before I say okay the shot. So what I do, because you can't have two of your senses working at the same time intensely. So what I do, I see if it is coming right, then I ask for sound. If I feel visuals are okay, then I ask him, can you play the sound again? And then if the sound feels okay. So little extra time that you take before you say okay, but I think it's all worth it, because when you see the final product, I think a lot of them loved Gantu Mote without even know. They don't know why they feel it is so real, because it's such a mind game that we play. Right? It's a very subconscious thing. They don't know why they feel it so real, because it's also sound, not just visual. Like we have shot in real school while the school was happening, so the sounds are very real. We've captured the classroom sounds and everything, and so yeah, sound is very, very, because it's audio visual medium, right? So you can't just focus on what you see. What you hear is also very important, and that's my trip. I love thinking uh, sound aspect of the script more than the visual aspect of the script, because for me visuals are actors that I'll work with. Sound is I love it. I just love it. Like the next film I'm thinking, it's going to be a lot to do with sound than the visuals. Like it's just, yeah, and especially imagine shooting in India. I have shot in the UK and US. The richness of sound you get here, you don't get anywhere. Like here, you can use cooker whistles for something. When I'm shooting, I shot a short film in my apartment, and I'm cutting it because this person's cooker is constantly going, like, I'm like, what are you cooking? It's 8-9 whistles. So I have to come running, ask them, will you switch off your cooker? I have to shoot. So these are little things, but then I think, oh, maybe I could use it for something. Yeah, I just love the soundscaping of stories.
Good visuals can be noticed, but good sound design you can't notice. You can only feel it.
Exactly. And together it will make you feel something, but you'd never understand what, because common audience are not looking at, I was talking to a friend and I was telling how a lot of them come back and say, good film, and what camera work. They don't, it is a very common thing to say because that's all that it is, right?
See,
But there is so much more happening, but they don't know because they never, there is a movie called Shabdo. I don't know if you guys have seen it. If you haven't, please watch it. It's all about a Foley artist.
yeah,
It's a Bengali film.
I watched it.
And you watched it?
Hmm.
Yeah. What a beautiful film. It just tells you so much that's happening audio wise that you just don't. So this is why it's important to be present. Always present, because there's so much, like right now as I'm talking, somebody's chopping vegetables and I can hear it, and I sometimes feel if I want to even bring in the smell element in the film. I don't know, someday if it is possible. Imagine they walk into the characters walk into a restaurant, you start smelling chaat. Like, I want to someday if it is possible, but another dimension to the filmmaking.
Ma'am, I watched Kantu Mutle. So one of my favorite thing was the way she narrates poetically, ma'am. So how did you manage to write those poetic lines, ma'am?
I write, Gautam. How do I tell you how did I manage? I've been writing since I was 8. Not 8, 10, but started really writing since I was in high school, love poems for my boyfriends. I can't hear you.
How long did you take to write those lines?
Not so long.
It was
I wrote the whole script in 2 days.
oh,
No, that's amazing. Because I had a question I wanted to ask you that, okay, fine, story, you can prepare it. I mean, how long did you spend on developing the story into fitting such kind of a dialogues, poetic lines, uh, making it so beautiful? I mean, सजा के दजा के इतना टाइम कितना लगा होगा बोल के?
Um, um, so I don't, when I'm thinking about a story, developing it, I'm not writing it. I'm only making pointers. I have a pad and a paper. I just keep making notes, like points. And then start thinking about it. And for me, story develops like into a proper format when I narrate it to my friends. So I have 2, 3 friends who get tortured by me because I'm like, yeah, let's meet. Why? Because I want to tell you about the story. And then otherwise I'll call her. So when I'm speaking about it, the story loopholes appear to me because I'm also listening to it, right? So that really helps. And then once it is in a form, I sit, and that is when my penance begins. When it is so ready to come out, it is like baby. And when I'm delivering, I sit without eating and drinking, and I'm just writing because it's all just coming out of me. And that's how I wrote Gantu Mute, and the other love story. It was just, I just sit and I start writing, and when I'm typing, the lines are also coming out. So I don't, I don't, I can't tell you how, because it's what it is. I'm
So
a very word person.
yeah, you are a word person trying to make films. I mean, that's what else do we need?
I'm a word person with visual memory. And when I'm writing, I feel I am typing what I'm seeing in my head. It's a very, mm, it's a very, I can't really explain how, because I'm seeing what they're doing
Mm.
in my head and I'm just explaining it on the script basically. So
Mm.
I can't even, I already hear them speak. I don't even know who they are, right?
Mm.
Who's going to play it. So for me, my first journey, my first high, if I can call it, and the reason that I want to be making films is writing, because writing itself is something. And then once it is ready, now the real torture begins, because where do I find, like, write, you can write anything you want to write.
Mm.
Where do I find an actor who will play this? When I wrote Gantu Mute, I'm like, okay, now 90% of the film is about her. Where do I find an actor who can do this, who can bring this out with the soul that I want it to? And then that is when I start panicking, because I start meeting people and nobody is clicking, and I sometimes start crying and all, because like, where are they? And then and then and then I also know universe has a plan and it will send whoever it has to send, and I just need to be open. So, and then people appear. Teju appeared, and and we met, and we spoke for 3 hours, not about the film, just generally. And then I'm like, so I have this thing you want to do it? She's like, yeah, let's do it. And yeah, and then it was to see how I can make her look like a high school girl, and I requested her to lose some weight, and she started doing yoga, because I needed her skin to look in a certain way, because she was 22 when I approached her, and I needed her to look like 15. How do I make audience believe that? So she started doing rigorous yoga, 3 months, so her skin changed. She started eating certain kind of food. So all of that, even Nishchi, all the kids, people who are the kids who are smoking, I requested them not to smoke for a while so that they look fresh. All of that, and all of, like, people who love acting and who love to be part of stories, they will do all of this. Like, when people actors become really big, they call themselves method acting. It's what you do, it's what you should be doing. It's not something special or a separate thing. Method actors and non-method actors, aisa kuch nahi hai. You do what the character requires you to do and the story requires you to do. That's, I think, every actor should be doing. um yeah, did I answer your question, or did I just go on my own spree?
No, that was, I think, to the point and clear, giving some more insights into what acting could be also.
Yes.
So,
And I mean, there is I realized good casting is half job done,
mhm.
and casting
And
is
how do you find, I mean, how do you do the good casting? Can you share us some tips?
intuition.
Intuition. It just
You just
happens.
believe in that. Yeah, you just trust in your intuition. um like Nishchit, I saw him in a workshop, even like a year and a half before I even thought of Gantu Mute.
Mhm.
2018 I started thinking about Gantu Mute. 2016 I saw him. He was a very young kid who had come from this, and I conduct so I in one of the academies here, I take a 3-hour session to actors. How do they work with directors? So that kind of fun.
Mm.
I love talking to these young aspiring actors. There's so much dream in their eyes and all of that.
Mm.
So in that, he was sitting there, and I saw him, and just the way he was trying to imbibe, like, absorb every word I'm trying to say, because he didn't speak much English.
Mm.
He came from a village, so it was so beautiful, and this thing in his eye. So I told him, we'll do something, Nishchit, let's be in touch. Likewise, I chose all the boys, Bhargav and Ranga, because when you see them, you'll know. And then this story was anyway running in my Zahan somewhere, and it just fell in place. But then Nishchit, looks wise, he matched, but he's kind of rigid in front of camera, so had to do a lot of workshops with him to loosen him up a little bit. And he has this very star-like actions, acting, I mean, like, movement. So to take it all off him and make him a boy was my challenge. Like, he started thinking like I'm a big star, like walking like that, and his hand movement, his he had developed some, like, built some body. So I told him 6 months, don't do anything, may become thin again. So to keep erasing star out of him was my challenge.
Yes. Also, you spoke about that, you actually have a really close connection. I mean, you work with actors very much. I mean, very close to them. You don't let them interact with anyone else on the set. So maybe one actor, two actor, or maybe three performers you can manage. Like, how many people can you manage at
No,
one time?
I don't let them, it's not like I don't let them interact. It
Hmm.
is not about the, they can have fun, they can chill and all of that, but what they are doing that day and how that needs to be done, and
About the
anything
film.
about the film,
Okay.
that I don't want, I mean, if they don't think I'm that approachable that they cannot come and tell me things or discuss with me, then there is no point working with each other. I need that trust with each other and confidence. So they can just come and ask me anything, but only me.
Okay.
Because inputs from others, it will just dilute the whole process for me. And I also obsess over my lead actors. So yeah, it's I miss them when I finish shooting, because I would have seen them so much. They start coming in my dreams and everything, and then shooting is over. I don't know what I'm supposed to do for the next few days.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you something on creating the 90s and especially a film being an indie film. So I want to know, like, because in terms of budget, you'll have restrictions. You have to create a period and stuff like that. So yeah, it kept coming to me. Yeah.
Yeah, when I started thinking about this script, I realized you need to create 90s in the frames that you're using. That's all, not everywhere else. So, like entire world can look the way it needs to look. Only my frames need to look 90s, right? My frames and my actors need to look 90s. So what are the elements? I started thinking. I have lived my teenage years in 90s, so the detailing is and I have very strong visual memory, like I said. So detailing is very, very clear in my head. I know how, where should be what. So now that there is a joke around my team that how Sanjay Leela Bansali has same set for 3-4 films now. Like he made Bajirao Mastani and then he made Padmavat and all of that in the same set. Almost it feels like, right? So like that we have 90s set ready, like elements, the phone and everything is ready. So we just have to place it. But our challenge was it's always the challenge is to in the soundscape again, to create 90s. There are things that we also have to do in the graphics later, and I make note of it, because if I'm going for a wide shot, there are these satellite dish Tata Sky and all of these things, and these mobile towers. So anything that is not 90s, I just need to make note of it. So because you're very present, I'm looking at the frame and I tell, so we create something called edit report during the shoot. Do you guys know about it? You know
Yeah,
about edit
slightly
report?
aware.
Okay, so edit report is something that it's one of the AD's job will be that to log everything about
The shot.
every shot. Yes. So there are things like what day was it shot, who are the actors, because let's say in our kind of films, let's say we are only shooting for 40-45 days, so your memory still holds all of this. What if you are editing something after a year? You would have forgotten a lot of things. So edit log will help you to, and like which was the okay take out of some 10-12 takes you've taken, what was the okay take? And
Clip number.
sometimes
The clip number and all, right?
yeah, clip number, sound number, clip number, everything needs to be there. That log, somebody will be writing it down. If they can write it down on a nowadays, if they can do it on a notepad, like a tablet or a laptop, it's better. But if they're writing it down immediately every day, it has to go into laptop. It should be there in the Excel sheet or Word file or somewhere. So so I make note of in the edit log. I keep telling her or whoever is writing every take, like take number 4. I like it first half. Just make a mention of it. You know, I would have NG'd the take, but I also know that I can take this reaction from this take. So I would make all of these little
Notes.
so that later, and I would also make I would have written it in my own script also. This is my backup because I don't really trust the other person. What if they have written number wrong, right? You trust the other person up to 90%. 10% you have to do what you have to do because it's your film ultimately, right? You cannot just. So yeah, I would have written down this particular take. One guy is walking with mobile phone in the backdrop, but I really like the actor's performance. So what I'll do, I'll write it down and ask my graphic guy if I can remove that fellow off the frame. If he is not overlapping characters, we can remove him off. So how much will it, if it is, since we are doing indie, everything is money. So how much? Okay, like I'll do it free. He'll say, okay, cool, let's remove that fellow off. So we do such things. Creating 90s is just relevance. You just need to create relevance and context in every frame, and it is not that difficult if you think about it.
I actually got a chance to work in a South Indian film, Malayalam film, and my job was I was assigned to do that thing, the edit report.
Mm.
So yeah, that
Okay.
was
Yeah,
so
it's a very boring process, but you are the most important person on the set.
I enjoyed though. Yeah.
Yeah. See, when just because you're creating a certain time period in your story, unnecessary, you don't need to go to close up just to show the detailing you have worked on. People end up doing that because they are so self indulgent that like art direction, I have created this, I need to show, so I'll cut to close up. Why? It is not necessary. It should all be part of your larger narrative. So it should be just somewhere there. Like there is a moment in the other love story, also in the Gantumute. There is a moment where I show in Gantumute, I show the Majestic bus stop, which is so changed from 90s to now. So once I took the Majestic is the main bus stop of Bangalore. Now buses look different, right? So I had to wait for a moment where there are very less buses so that I can change the color of the bus in the later in post. But what I did, there was a bus which was moving and I couldn't track it and change the color. So what we did, I placed like one hoarding kind of thing to cover that and put a poster there of the 90s. Just half poster that is just visible. So it is just because I have done that, I don't want to cut close up to that poster. It is just there enhancing the frame, right? Nothing should be just you have done it, you are showcasing. It should be all be very beautifully intervened with each other, because ultimately in a story what matters is your actors performance.
So, ma'am, like you mentioned, you being an indie filmmaker, and like so far, what you've done is like smaller projects. But have you ever had feelings where you're like, oh my god, this story is so big, I want to do it in a bigger canvas and stuff like that? Do you get such ideas, or is it?
I do have such scripts, and I have pinned it for later because I know I cannot bring that kind of money on board right now. I have a story that happens completely in a train, from the train journey that uh, starts from Bangalore and ends in Delhi. It's a 42 hours train ride. So the whole story happens in the train. Nowhere I mean, like only when platforms where they are getting off. So how do I make this happen? I want to shoot in real train. So it's a big canvas. It's very expensive. Train per day to shoot is 1.5
Expensive.
lakh rupees.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, I mean, but I do. When you say big canvas, see in filmmaking, the biggest cost element is what you pay your actors. And if the bigger the star, the bigger the cost, right? I hope COVID has changed the whole idea of stardom, that they don't really charge you 100 crores, 50 crores and all that. So that's the biggest cost element. And marketing and promotion later. Like big production houses in Mumbai, they have a 35-65, which means 35 to make the film, 65 to promote the film. That's the percentage. So for us also it was 50-50. How much we input to make the film, that's how much we had to spend later to promote and distribute the film. Although we couldn't do much promotion. Imagine, we had so less money. But then we just trusted that the movie, if it is good, it will reach.
Ma'am, as a debut director, when you reach a producer or production house, like what are the principles you need to carry in order to narrate them the script?
I haven't done this because my interactions, my meetings with the production houses per se didn't reach narration space, because the moment, like let's say when I approached them with the other love story, they wouldn't understand what is a web series, first of all, because it was in 2015-14. We were one of the first web series in India. And they would understand why, what about, what two girls love story doesn't make sense. And when I went back, and that's why I crowdsourced. When I went back with Gantu Mutte, I was asked, even in the first meeting, why do you have to tell this story? Why? Girl, I mean, they come with a very different, their priority is very different. And I couldn't really get to that space of narration. So that is why we ended up creating our own production house.
Ma'am, suppose, like you told, you were also producer. Suppose I'm coming with a script to narrate you. What do you expect from me?
Honesty.
Okay.
How tortured you are with this story that you really want to tell. That's what I see. I don't care how you want to tell it, what is your screenplay and everything. That's all much later. I just want to see how really genuinely you want to tell this story, because why is very important for everything, right? See, I could also be the wrong person to be answering this, because I know 70% of film world they work as an industry, right? They create films so that they can keep churning the money, not to really tell the story. So for me, stories are most important. So when you come to me with your script, that's what I see. Like, why are you here? I will ask you that question first. Why are you guys here anyway, learning filmmaking?
Love making films.
Why?
Working in the film industry.
Ma'am, to convey our thoughts through films.
Yeah?
Oh, to convey a vision.
Why? Why do you want to convey? Everybody has thoughts. Everybody has dreams.
Not everyone can convey the vision on the screen.
No,
Only
I
people
don't
who
want.
love films can make it.
See, if you have been the victim of stories, then a lot of them, I hope it still remains the art form more than the industry, as you guys also start making films. I hope you guys bring stories from your own neighborhood, from your own world, upbringing. Don't just cook stories so that it runs well in theaters, making cars fly and stuff like that. Unless you want to do that, because it makes really great money.
As you rightly said, ma'am, someone who is very much interested towards story, someone who is having that passion to tell stories, you might accept them, but out there, it's an industry.
Yeah.
People obviously want to make money. I mean, you're expecting 20 crores. They're expecting how the 20 will become into 5 or into 10 or whatever the formula is.
Yeah,
So,
no, I agree. I agree. So that you got to, that is why you have to constantly question what is your path, what is that you want to do. So when we started our own production house, we were very, very clear that we are not here to make 100 crore, reach a 100 crore club or anything. We want to tell stories that really, really mean something to us. If and also because you are producing, we want to get the money we are investing back with, let's say, 10-20% extra, so that we can keep making movies. That's our only intention. We are not looking at with this movie money I'm buying an Audi car or a BMW, or that's not, it's money will come if you're very, very genuine with what you're doing. So yeah, I mean, it's what you decide for your life. If you really want to do that, go in that direction, then do it. It's because filmmaking is for everyone. Film world is for everyone, not for just this or that. It's for everyone. I mean, there are times where I enjoy mindless comedies. So, and there are, because you can't, it's not just one kind of thing. So the one kind of 7 billion people in the world, that's your audience.
and everyone has their own audience.
Yeah. So 7,500 people, 7,500 movies get produced every year across the world. We can even make it 10,000 just so our mathematics is clear. 10,000 is to 700 crore. That is your ratio. So every film has an audience. We just need to find them and reach them.
There are a lot of students here who are very keen on making commercial cinema, and we don't disappoint them because that is what they love doing it. And there are certain
They still don't know, I feel.
Yeah,
They
they don't
haven't
know.
explored life enough. They see something has enthralled them about films. That's why they are here. And it's an exploration. If you see, a lot of great films have come from people who have around 40, 45, because you need to go through the churning of life to kind of get to that space. So yeah, I mean, right now when I ask any of them, why are you here? I don't think they will have an answer. I still don't know the clear answer, right? Like after having been pursuing this for 10 years, um, it's a everyday thing, but we just need to keep questioning ourselves. Otherwise, we'll lose the sight of where we are walking. What pushed me to come here? You need to keep questioning and keep going in that direction, because it's so easy to lose track. Like soon after I finished The Other Love Story, I had 6 film offers where they wanted me to remake or whatever. I said no. And two or three OTTs asked me if I could do like Alt Balaji and all of them, if I have any web series idea. And I said no, because what I need time from project to project, because it's a very intimate process, it troubles me, like it intense process for me. So I take time before I enter another story. But it's easy, like, okay, remake. Oh, they'll pay me some 40-50 lakhs, let me just do it. Like it's very easy. It's important to pause before you go into anything. Think why, only then pick it up. So from there, and after Gantumute, I've had few people call me and, we want to produce your film. Do you have anything ready? We have an idea. Do you want to work on it? I have the script ready. Do you want to produce? Do you want to direct it? We have the producer ready. Like various permutation combinations have happened. But I'm just sitting and writing my own thing.
As an independent filmmaker, it's always stressful in terms of giving ourselves the full. But when you look at a studio system, the budget is big and the roles and responsibilities can be divided among n number of assistant directors, n number of assistant producers, n number of assistant people, and the roles and responsibilities of directors are actually limited. So it's either way, it's a pull and push kind of situation.
Yeah. See, I have directed 2 episodes of a TV show, like a reality show for a channel here. I wanted to see what happens there because I was part of, they had offered me to shoot a TV serial, some 300 episode. I went on the set and I realized directors really don't have any job. I mean, you're not really creating anything. All you're doing is just, I mean, I don't even know why you need a director, like it's already, somebody's writing, it's, see, what is the French word?
Author.
Author. Yeah, author.
Author.
So if you are that within you, then you don't really like that kind of a setup,
Yeah.
where everything is given to you. All you're doing is action cut. I mean, doesn't make sense. So I did experience that in a studio setup also. You kind of have, see, direction is a skill set, right? Being a director is a particular skill set. How you're a mechanic, or all of this is specific skill set, and direction is also a skill set. All of this, that what I spoke to you in the last few minutes, last an hour, is from a very perspective of what is it? French
Author.
word? Yeah,
Author.
from that perspective. But just as a director, it's a skill set that you can harness as you keep. It's like being doctor. As you're doing more, you will just learn it more. You will know, hey, and I've seen many directors. Master will take master shot and close up, and they've not even put in any thought before, right? They in some TV serials
Following the
come,
logic,
just
the formula.
yeah. I mean, cinematographer will take care of all your imaginary line and not breaking whatever grammar of this, and this fellow will just we'll go close up here. Yeah, over the shoulder. Okay. I mean, have you seen TV serials where there are no over the shoulder shots? Because they bring one actor one day, finish all their close ups, and another actor another day and bring their close up. So they are just cutting close up. There is a reason you take close up. There is a reason you bring another person's shoulder into the frame. So that only those who want to be telling, like, who, I don't even know, like, I don't even.
It's a flavor of filmmaking. I mean, you want to have that flavor, you have to go with this.
Yeah, I mean, what are you being honest to the story? Are you telling it the way it needs to be told? Because it's not so to think of a pace, to think why you need another person here and why you don't need the other person. It's all, that's the craft, that's the art part of it, right? So if you are not that, then yeah, then you can be studio or TV serial director also, and it's all different kinds, but I am not that. So
Yeah, so I wanted to ask you about the master shot. So you never take a master shot?
I do,
You do.
of course.
So there's like one master shot for sure. Then individually according to the scenes.
Oh, when you're saying for a big scene, okay. So I
The
don't.
formula.
What I do is I shoot the master shot just as a backup,
Yeah. Yeah.
because there are times where master shot gives you in the edit, there could be something, but then like for a film like Gantu Mute, I don't want to really take them away from the character because it's a character study film. I'm constantly being with her. So if I'm going to master shot, I am releasing an audience, like kind of a relief, right? There's a breath that they take. So when you are deciding the pace in the edit, if you are going for that breath, you need to know if it is in your rhythm. Because you're again coming back to close-ups and point of views and all of that. So if I'm going for master, then I am constantly thinking, is that breath will work here or not work here? But I will take a master shot, because also sometimes what happens, I would have rehearsed with the actors some scenes already, right? And now they are in the location. So I want to see how they bring themselves into the scene in that location, right? So I'll ask them to do it. I'll just ask them to do the whole scene. So when they're doing it, I'll roll it to see what if they're bringing any element that I can use. And if I see yes, this element will work, then I will take that shot separately along with the master shot. So this is what the joy when you're creating something, right? But you need to have that kind of actors who will give you that kind of time that they're okay to do the whole scene. If you're working with big stars and all, they'll just come and because like they'd
It's
but
all the
some
schedule which works.
yeah, but there are some, like I've heard Vijay Sethupathi and he'll do rehearsals. I heard that Amitabh Bachchan still he will do full run through of the scene before the shoot begins. So if you get actors like that, it's wonderful.
Yeah. Do you have edit points in your mind while shooting?
Yes,
Like it's like so precise,
very precise.
right?
I feel I am an editor also in my head. So I usually when I just after when I'm seeing them perform, I know where I'm cutting already, and when I'm
Right.
sitting with the editor, I do this when he's running the and then both of us would have done it at the same time because this is the length I want, like this is where I want. So yeah, I love the process of editing and I have the edit points. But not many would understand when I'm saying,
Mm.
look, I already got that in that shot,
Mm.
right? So I would be telling my ADs, I got what I want in that shot. I just want this. So they're like, what do you mean that and this? Can you explain? I'm like, okay, now because I'm like seeing in my head and I'm speaking. They don't understand the details. So I'm like, okay, no, I got the reaction there. I just need it here. So yeah, I'm editing it. And it's a beautiful skill to have as an addition to directing skill.
Right. You have an editor on the spot, or like is it parallelly somewhere else?
Somewhere else.
Somewhere else.
I can't afford to have the editor on the
Yeah.
So as an independent filmmaker, it's not just the direction part we always get into. It's almost everything. And then whoever joins the project becomes an extension of the project.
Yeah. And if you're not it's if you're not like that, then the magic won't happen.
Magic won't happen.
Yeah,
It's a one single soul which we are getting to experience when
exactly.
the one person. It's like instead of 5 people preparing a dish, it's like the one person soulfully making something beautiful.
Yeah, it should feel like it.
Hmm.
And there are many ego clashes that happen along the journey because we are all human beings, right? But then be matured enough to see where you can step back and have that conversation. All of that will happen. There have been cases where director and producer have fallen out soon after the shoot or during the shoot, and producer had to finish the film. The film was so bad. All of that happened. So you see what I'm saying is a very different, like independent, very different kind of filmmaking. But if you go into the industry, a lot of it, what I said, you will not find it there. Okay, so you find your own voice, you find your own rhythm, you find your own dance. I call the whole thing dance. So you have to find it and see what you want to do along with all of this. I worked in a commercial film first, 2 commercial films, and then one completely indie crowdfunded Tamil film. And then I had to sit back and think, what do I want? How do the kind of person I am, where do I fit in? I was so lost in a big commercial film set. I wouldn't half the time know who's doing what because there'll be 120 people on the set. I would think these light boys who are sitting, 20 of them will come with one unit man. Why do we need so many? They're half the time sitting and doing nothing. Right? And that is what I did when I was on a commercial film set, observing and seeing. Half the time I have no idea what shot we are going. I was like first AD for first 3 months and became associate. Half the time I would be wondering, what are we shooting next? According to schedule, this is what we are shooting, but what are we, because it doesn't seem like I have my properties ready. And then I'll go ask, what are we shooting? And then, the hero would have said something else. So we are doing something else until it is done. So I was super confused. So on a big film set, it's very hard I would try to be as much as possible next to the camera. So I could keep absorbing as much as I could. But I would also find the DOP being lost because suddenly they've asked for a jib. He's like, jib shot we've had planned already. I'm like, I don't know. Like, so
Money
But
works
mostly
in
film.
commercial.
Hmm?
Money works in commercial film. You can get
Oh, yeah.
anything at any point of time.
Yeah, but
Mm.
it's a very different,
Mm.
they're coming from a very different space of filmmaking. That's all. Like, I'm
I,
very, sorry,
no,
I'm
you can
very
continue.
moved by French cinema, European cinema, Iranian
Mm.
cinema. So I want to do that. I want to tell our real stories from real people, like, because it is very disheartening when I lived in the US. Indian cinema, they would only think it's dance and, like all of this. And and it's so sad. It's not just that, because we are 100 crore people and all of us have stories to tell. Why are we not capturing that? Just because it's commercially not viable. So let's make the film in a way that it becomes little at least viable, so we can keep telling stories. That's how I approached it, because I have gone through so much in my life, and none of it have seen on screen. So I always felt misrepresented. You know, is my job only to sing and dance, or what is it? Like, I was so confused growing up in the 90s. Why is it not happening in my life? Because cinema is such a big influencer for our lives, such a big influencer. So yeah, and that's how right now I'm at that zone where every story should feel like it's happening in our own life. I'm
Ma'am, what are
obsessed.
your favorites, like in terms of films and also books, if you read those, like authors, books, I mean, also films, not necessarily influences, but things that inspires you or you go back to where you unwind and stuff like that.
Um, I Very few films I have seen it again and again, because I think I suck everything out of a film when I watch it once. Only when I go back to it, only maybe to see, like recently I have been tripping on Portrait of a Lady on Fire, because how she's made a film just about one emotion, desire.
Mm.
It is so mind blowing for me, because just one emotion, how did she think she could be so controlled in her storytelling
Narrative.
that she could convey this? And so I'm like so jealous of her, at the same time so in awe of her, the director, right? How did she and then now I'm seeing each shot, every movement, every positioning. She's gone to outdoors for despair, a certain emotion. She's been indoors for certain emotions. It is mind blowing. So I tripped on that. Like, as a child, I have seen many films. I only got introduced to international cinema when I started film school. Before that, I hadn't seen much of international cinema. So Richard Linklater is someone I am really um, like. Just his, like his, he's like, I will do my own thing about films. Like, you don't tell me how to make cinema. Boyhood, who would have thought?
Years it took, yeah.
Who would have thought that you can make a movie like that? Or Before Sunrise. So yeah, I like Richard Linklater. And I also love Martin Scorsese, and like, many filmmakers. I would have watched a film. Like, as a growing up, I would have watched a film and it would have impacted me, but I wouldn't know who made it and stuff like that.
Mm.
So there was some Gujarati film which I saw in DD1 long ago. Two scenes have just stayed with me. I don't know which film was it, who were the actors, but I was maybe 8 year old. But two scenes are so strong in my head. So like that, you keep taking things like. But Maniratnam, of course, K. Vishwanath sir. Um, I love K. Vishwanath sir. Just the way, as a child, I would know that, oh my God, in his films there is no villain, there is nobody fighting hero, and I could sense that. Like, what did he do? So, story is only becoming villain here. Suddenly now they're going through this, so I could understand all of that. So yeah, there is no one or two I can. And
Ma'am,
books, now I'm reading Sapiens. So
there are lot many aspiring filmmakers who want to honestly narrate their stories, and they are finding producers. But then, due to some ideology clash, they're not able to produce, like they're not able to find producers. So if they are planning to become an independent filmmaker, what are the tips to be followed, ma'am?
Learn to make a film with as low money as possible without compromising on the quality. How does that happen? Think about, like, not all films require a Arri Alexa camera. Not all stories require. So explore technologies. We are all right now. All of us are, I think, little bit technologically sound. Not like those days when we're all well read. At least we can uh, keep updated with what is happening technologically, right? So, like for me, I decided I'll use a Canon C300 camera for Gantumute, because I have shot two German. So I also line produce and co-produce German, like European documentaries. So in one of my projects, we used C300. The team that came from Germany, they used C300, and I love the quality, the visual quality of it. And then I also saw it was so handy. But for India, it was new then, and they started using it. And for India, it was very, very new. Nobody knew much about it. So we bought it from UK. I mean US. We bought it from US, and we use prime lens for that. So your quality is, so like that, in every aspect you need to understand what is needed, what is not needed, how much can I save. If you have if you and your story also tells you, uh, like for example, if you have a story that requires a lot of junior artists, you need to pay them, right? And I did in Gantumota, I had to hire city bus for 2 days of shoot, and that's expensive. So you see how you can do the film with less money, and then that is your, I think, plan it to the dot. And see how free locations, free food if possible.
I always feel, someone who should be willing to just give some money and they're like, रख ले, movie बना ले, आया तो आया, नहीं तो जाने दे.
That's what
I
I
would be very
always.
happy to find such kind of a person.
Me too. That is what I would. That's what I would always think when we were doing Other Love Story. Just before that, there was one producer who had said, "Okay, I'll produce," and then I was like rehearsing. We had hired one place as a studio to rehearse all of that, and he stopped picking my calls after that. And then 10 days, 12 days, I'm panicking because I had planned sometime in October 2015 we'll start shooting, but Banda didn't pick up calls. And then he finally responded, said, "Hey, sorry, I had booked an Audi car and that just came, so now my money is gone there." Like priorities, right? Here is someone who is like dying because he's not able to get story. So that is how world is. I'm like, 10 lakh, that's all I'm asking. 10 lakhs, for many it is just 1 or 2 days bar bill, for
Yeah.
many. And I had about 8-9,000 in my account by then. So the dream of 10 lakhs, and then we were just sitting and thinking, like, how are we going to bring this 10 lakh, right? For anybody to just give it to me, it's not going to happen, because 10 lakh rakh le tu kar le, like my mom wouldn't do it. Forget anybody else.
Bank won't do that. Filmmaker,
Yeah.
oh, sorry.
So we that is when I'm like, I will ask 10 of my friends to give 10,000. That's how it started. I'm like, then I thought, oh, that is what crowdsourcing is all about. And then I approached Wishberry, and we raised about 5 lakhs through crowdsourcing. And during crowdsourcing, because we started campaigning for it, we spent about like a lakh to promote the crowdsourcing campaign itself. And that campaign reached somebody in London who ended up telling me that I will produce the reminder money. Let's finish it. Again, I had started shooting. So when it has to happen, it will happen. But until it happens, you are like, yeah. When I'm traveling, I'll be like, yeah, this guy is just. I'll see somebody who's just buying like some big expensive jewelry. I'm like, just give it to me, I'll finish a film. Their priorities. Just their priorities.
Ma'am, have you ever been in a situation like you have the script to direct but there is no team.
No, never. No, it has happened. Of course, it has happened. Other love story, like the, you will keep finding your team with every film, I feel. Mm. Yeah, it happens. But then once you find them, you hold on to them. Don't leave them. But no, I'm very open also to work with technicians, different. One second, my phone is getting turned off. Can you see me?
No, we can just hear you.
Just give me how long are we going to go, Dhananjay? Because it's 4:38 and I need to.
Okay. Maybe we can wind up in 5 minutes. If no one has any question, we'll just wind up in 5 minutes.
Okay, now I'm charging my phone. I'm going to be in a different angle.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Okay.
yes, I'm also open to work with different technical team as long as we are again, seeing each other. Am I audible?
Anyone? Yes, you are audible. Anyone has any queries or anyone has any questions to ask? Maybe can ask.
I'm going to just switch off a video for a second.
No problem. Yeah. Anyone around? Any curious guys here?
Yes, sir. I had
Yes,
a
Sudeep.
question. I had a question, ma'am. I'm Sudeep from Bangalore. I'm a huge fan of your work. Uh, I was quite nervous to speak here,
Yes,
but
Sudeep.
somehow I tried.
Sudeep, switch on your camera.
Sir,
That
I'm
too.
having a network.
Okay.
I'm having a network issue. So,
Okay.
uh, ma'am, as you were talking about real people or realistic approach, I have seen in BFF or in Gantu Mute and or in other love story, the surrounding characters like mother, there will be a small lines like it will feels you like hey ಇದು ನಮ್ಮನೇಲಿ ನಡೆಯೋ ಕಥೆನೇ ಅಲ್ವಾ ಗುರು ಅನ್ನೋ ಲೆವೆಲ್ ಫೀಲ್ ಆಗುವಂತ ಲೈನ್ಸ್ ಲೈಕ್ ಇನ್ BFF there was a line ಶೂ ಆ ಕಡೆ ಇಡು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಶೂ ಆ ಕಡೆ ಇಡು ಆಮೇಲೆ ಲೈಕ್ ಇನ್ ಗಂಟು ಮುಟ್ಟೆ ಈ ಲಿರಿಕ್ಸ್ ಗಳಿಗೆ ಏನಾಗೋಗಿದೆ ಈಗಿನ ಸಿನಿಮಾ ಲಿರಿಕ್ಸ್ ಏನಾಗೋಗಿದೆ those are the most commonly used dialogue in real life. How do you write those things, or as an observer you are a genius, ma'am?
Thank you, because that's all I've done all my life, just observed. I have always felt left out in my family gatherings and all, because half the time all I'm doing is just I'm quite bad at social interaction, so I'm just looking at them and seeing, like, for example, I had to go for my DL. Before this, I went for my driving license. Although I've been driving for a while, I didn't have a license, and I finally decided to get it done. It's not getting recorded, no? This conversation.
It doesn't matter. It's fine. We'll
Okay.
top it off.
So I was in this RTO office, and somebody has told this RTO officer that I am a film director. So the way I was treated was super funny. Okay, I mean, like, please come sit, ma'am, and all of that. I'm like, okay, and it's like, I'm getting retired in 3 days. You think you can give me any role? Quite handsome fellow, right? I was actually observing him. He has something very unique features. He has got earrings and all that, and quite tall fellow. I said, yes, sir. I was actually seeing you. Quite handsome. You don't look like you're getting retired, I said. I think that touched him very much. that, and without test he gave me DL. Um, but just sit those many minutes, and I was seeing kind of conversations that happen there. It's so fascinating. And when I'm creating a scene, it just comes in, right? Like that is what it is for me. Like when you're writing, you just make it as natural as possible. So what I'm doing is, usually what I do is, when I'm rehearsing with the actors, I would have written something, and they're now saying these lines, right? Like in rehearsals they are saying this line, and I will make changes according to how comfortable they are saying that line, because it should not be my line that they are saying, it should be that character that they are saying, right? Characters lines, so how comfortable are they? Because somewhere I would have written some English word, and okay, this particular actor may not be comfortable using that English word, right? So I'll change it. So I'm really open to see how I can make it as realistic as possible. Even on a shoot day, I will add something, like say it, like something would, for example, Jyoti Koti in Gantu Mute. I added it then. So it came to my head. I shot Gantu Mute in my own school where I studied. So when I was in that moment shooting, it just came to 8th standard kids, right? Like 8th, 9th standard kids. So we are not so serious about our conversation. So, and then okay, let's add this. So making it as believable as possible. And I mean, it's just funny how people talk sometimes. So yeah, did I
That was
answer?
a good question. Anyone has anything to ask?
Yes, ma'am. I
Yes,
watched Gantu Mute last night, and I was wondering, like, the story is about high school students, but it was given an A certificate by our censors. So, what was your experience with our censor board?
That was my first reality check, censor board. Until then, when all my friends, all my team members were like the way we think, so nothing of what I had written felt very adult rated to us, because it's just kiss and it's just smoking. It didn't, until I arrived there on the day of censor, and they gave me 1 hour lecture as to how they think until 21 in India people don't kiss. So, and yeah, what is this, ma'am? People saying it's high school kids, but kids are hugging everywhere, kissing. It's not what we want to, because if they think, if they had given other certificate like UA or anything, kids would come and watch, and they'll get influenced by this film, and they will go and do it. So that is why. And I asked them, there are many films where you give UA, and the hero is smoking, heroine are kissing. If they have to get influenced, that is what they get influenced from, and that is what I'm trying to show also, that they are getting influenced by films. But then it's a lost cause to explain it to somebody who's not even open to hear your side of the story. So they said, we will give you UA if you remove all the kissing scenes and cigarette smoking scenes. I said, I'm not removing. They said, okay. He said.
And how different it was with the film festivals? Like,
which festival? Other, like in the US, other film festivals that we went to, that one?
yes, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, film festival is where you find audience who come there. They're like very resonating audience. They're already in a certain wavelength with you, right? Because they've decided to come and watch films in the festival, which means they're in a certain openness. So when the first premiere happened in New York, and it was almost houseful, and 82-year-old uncle, he was from India, who's gone and settled in the US for last 50 years. He and his wife had come, and they had watched, and after the show, he said, thank you for reminding me my high school days. So, and I asked him later after the discussion, open house. I met him and I asked him if he said there is nothing in the, like I told him about the kissing scenes. Were you uncomfortable? I wanted to know if there is any such, what certificate should I expect? By then I hadn't applied for certificate. So he said, no, all of this happened in our times also. It used to happen. So yeah, film festival is always so much fun. But what is more fun is somebody who comes and buys ticket and watches your film. That feeling it's beyond words. Somebody stranger who will decide to come and watch a film and buy ticket and come and sit in theater and watch it. I find they're all gods, at least for me as an indie filmmaker. And our film ran almost full house for 4 weeks, so it's quite good.
Do you write multiple drafts for the script?
She just answered that in the beginning of the.
Yeah, you mentioned that you just write it out completely. Then other than that, do you do corrections after that?
So what I might do is, this scene, when I'm reading with actors, when I start rehearsing, when I'm reading, if I feel, this scene need not come here, I might change the order of the scenes. Usually 80-85% sorted in the first draft.
Right.
I have a question here. This is regarding the other love story web series. Back then, web series was a very new concept. Not many of them have tried, and especially you went on to try the same-sex web series, which was again not so much accepted at the point of time by the majority of the crowd. And did you shoot the complete web series before releasing it, or were you simultaneously shooting? Because if I remember, you were simultaneously shooting and releasing
No.
it on the YouTube.
I had shot everything and I had all the episodes ready. I approached that project like a feature film. So we shot everything. We took about 38 days of shooting. We did 38 days of shooting. Almost 40 days of shooting, and once it was shot, we edited. All the episodes were ready. And when we released the first episode, all the other episodes were also already in YouTube. It was just about making it public.
Okay.
Yeah. So I mean, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't
simultaneously. Because that's a lot of stress.
Yeah. What I did, we released a day after, and I went off there because we had blocked Switzerland for the. We hadn't released this across the world at the same time. It was only we had geo-blocked. So it was only certain parts of Asia and certain parts of US. That's how we had released, because we had made a deal with an OTT platform called Reverie to release in US, Canada, UK. That is where we broke even our cost, because YouTube doesn't really give you so much money back.
Yeah.
So because we had done geo-blocking, it wasn't out in Switzerland. So I wanted to be in a space where I don't see the comments, and because it's too stressful. So I left country.
So a lot of people here are actually having high hopes on YouTube. So do you want to suggest them something, like how to market your short films? Okay. Guys, does anyone have any questions, or maybe we can just wind up after this question?
Sorry, I had to go somewhere at 5 o'clock, and I was getting a call. Sorry, what was I saying?
Okay, I'll maybe repeat the question. So the question was, a lot of students here are actually having high hopes on YouTube for releasing their short films and all. So they expect that, you know, YouTube revenue, big revenue, once they make it viral and things like that. So what is something which you would like to suggest?
So 2008 and 2009 is when YouTube started monetizing the content, right? That's when the ads and all happened. I don't know how it is now, but in 2016, until 2016, what I had understood, I did a lot of research. So it's all based on the volume, the number of videos you upload. It's all in the volume, quantity, not in the quality. So even if you make it viral, lot of algorithm, lot of things go in place. Like if you're skipping the ad, then you are not getting paid. If there is full ad, if somebody leaves the video, you're not getting paid, and you're only getting a portion of it. And how much is it that you get a contract as a creator with the YouTube content creator. So there are various level of certification that you have to cross. With certification in the sense, like, you'll be a content creator, there are various levels, and that is enabled to you with the number of subscribers and number of likes and number of videos that you have. So it is mostly quantity based. So I was thinking with the 12 episodes with the BTS and everything, we'll have over 20-25 videos. It will be good enough. But what happened is, in the we did make a little money, but not as much as we had expected, because after like 6 months later, it was more repeated views. Repeated views are not taken as unique views, and they were also like, because by now they had seen the web series, so they would come back and see only the scene that they want to see and go back. So there are these things. So YouTube, unless you're planning, that's why if you see the stand-up comedians and all, they are like uploading content every day, because it is what they're getting is on the number of videos, because uh, cumulatively they will end up making good money, like across all the videos, not with 1-2 videos. So I do know children videos are the major earning YouTubers. So I don't know, I interacted with a very, very major YouTube channel, children, and they were then in 2015, they were billing 4 per month from YouTube, because children, you give them while eating, you are giving them a phone. They're not skipping ad, they're going to other video, they're just not stopping. So it is a biggest, if you're planning to make money out of YouTube, make some children cartoons.
Children make cartoon. Religion and the animated series is what runs the best on YouTube.
Yes.
Okay.
Any more questions?
If there are no questions, then maybe we can stop taking questions, because I'm sure we are troubling ma'am too much.
No,
At
I
meet
was
plans.
prepared for 2 hours, but then
Okay.
it's 5 o'clock and I have to go meet
Yeah,
someone.
yeah.
So, and
Thank you
because
so much.
I'm enjoying this, and thank you.
I think the vote of thanks will be given by the students. I think that's best. I mean, what else do we expect? If they have enjoyed, then that's the show.
Yeah. Hope you guys had fun. Hope you guys had it was useful, whatever we did. So I'm quite active on Insta, so if you want to talk about something, I'm always available. So
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Yes, yes, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you for accepting. Thank you for being here, ma'am. I hope all the students had something to take away from today's session. Okay.
I hope so too.
Thank you. Thank you, ma'am.
Yes. Bye-bye.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Okay. So good day, guys.